Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a non-bingo-y rack, but I've got good scoring tiles in the F and the K, so playing is going to be better than changing. Through a T, I would have kofta. I'm looking to play off the F and the K, plus at least one of the A's. And kofta would also get rid of the O. But I'm not seeing any other way of playing AOFK. So, what if opponent changes? Well, I have freak, getting the K doubled, keeping AO, that might be worth doing, would certainly score well. Any other 5-letter plays which play more vowels? Don't think so. Calf would be an alternative, keeping AEOR, but I think I prefer freak. Don't think there would be any 8s, but let's see what floaters have been provided. I've got the off prefix, lots of vowels, and the L isn't particularly helpful. Foul takes an R. I don't have a double-double through the F. Now, what about rake off? 2 spots for this. Rake off for 34. Yes, fantastic, that sorted out everything I wanted to achieve and left me with only 1 vowel rather than 2. And the alternative placement was 1 square higher, but that would have placed vowels next to double word squares. Now, what do I have here? Through an I would have aticist. No I available at the moment. Wow, nice bingo by opponent. And opponent provides an I. Fantastic. Aticist for 90. Not bad. Just the 1 non-bingo-y tile, but a couple of floaters. Now, I think there were alternatives with aticist, astatic. Why would that have failed? Okay, only 2 T's rather than 3, so maybe there weren't alternatives. And I mention alternatives just because this triple letter square above the I looks a little bit dangerous, so if there had been alternatives, they would have been worth considering. Opponent continuing to score well. My lead just 9 points. So, do I have a bingo here? Well, it's not far off. I'm not seeing a 7. I've got the any component part. What about the floaters? How about the T? Not seeing anything there. How about the L? No. So, what I need to do is just play off the duplicates and the Y. So a play of NAY would do pretty well. And I have that here. NAY for 25. Can I do any better? Let me see what it scores in this placement. Still 25. And I think I prefer it down here. Why is that? Well, I guess I've got a bingo rack and I feel that I'm creating a new bingo lane in column 2. And I wouldn't be if I played higher up because yaw takes nothing in front. Do I need to create a new bingo lane? I might as well since my rack is so good. Gosh, floating D and N as well. I hope I'm not missing a bingo with this rack. Close to anyone's. Okay, this is 25. It's not a very big score, so is there somewhere better for NAY? Well, not that I can see. I'm looking for spots for the Y. There's the A of dectinal. But I absolutely need to get rid of the duplicates as well. I am going with this. Pretty good. Surely I am bingoing now. I have rainiest and inertias through the T. Do I have something through the L? Well, do I? I'm not sure I do. And do I have a 7 here? I have scenarii, so that plays in column 9. So I should be bingoing here. It's possible both could be blocked. Scenarii does not have an anagram, so I don't have a column 13 play. Wow, nice bingo by opponent. And has he blocked? Well, he hasn't blocked the T, so I've still got rainiest. But that's the first blank played. And opponent creates no new spots. He obstructs scenarii, but rainiest was in any event better. So rainiest or inertias, very tricky. Still the Z to come. If I play rainiest, I'm sticking an A next to this double word square with a J and a Z to come. Yeah, I think, but the disadvantage of playing inertias is that I'm creating a lane in column 13. Well, rainiest would stick a floating R in the open. I think this cuts both ways, so I don't think there's much between these, but could there be an alternative bingo which is better? This is only 68 points, which is pretty dire. Well, I'm not seeing anything better. I'm going with this. Great, I draw the Z, but I didn't stick that A next to the double word square. Z doesn't go well with you, and I've got some high-scoring tiles. So this rack is very non-bingo-y. I don't have to play off the Z straight away. I could attend to the other tiles. I could play Mo Hua somewhere. That would play in row L. 28 points, not bad. Now my Z can go next to the A of dentinal. Interesting. Okay, just 26 for opponent. That's good. This is one of the words which will be losing shortly. Mo Hua doesn't play in column 14. AY does take a U. Not too many candidate plays with the tiles on my rack. I have Zoe. 39 points. Just not a good rack leave. Yer takes a D in front and an E. What am I missing? I feel there should be a decent Z plate. Now, I was considering the A of dentinal. So what do I have down here? Nothing down from the T. Well, yes, I have toes for 48 points. Not a great rack lead, but it is a decent score. I'm setting up a pretty hot 7-letter lane. Toes takes a D and an S, 2 Ds, an S and a blank to come. 48 points is a lot. So 14 minutes on my clock. That was 48. Nays. 39. And do I have anything down here? I have an M, which goes after SI. Not seeing anything which plays in column 14, getting a big tile tripled. What about a play beginning with Z? That's not going to be better than what I've already considered. Look at this, just 1 point between us. This could well be a point of inflection. What is the right thing to do? Now, what about playing row M ending ZA? I don't have one. And what about Mohua spots? Well, row L creates an easy scoring spot. I think I'm going to go with toes and put pressure on opponent. He's basically got to use this spot immediately or I have a shot at it. Toes for 48. Well, I don't have a shot at it, but an opponent might be spooked and play there. The worst scenario is a 7-letter play ending D or S, but that doesn't happen all the time. Now, what am I going to do with my rack? Just wondering about Mort. I don't think that's good, but Rort is. There's very little I want to hang on to in this rack, so I am considering playing a lot of tiles to increase my chances of drawing the blank, or a D or an S. And Rort, although it's sticking a few tiles out in the open, they're not completely in the open, only 2 tiles max can go after them. It would be placing a U next to a double word square with a Q to come, which isn't great. Okay, pan him for 28. Is Grumph good? Is this good? Have I made this up? 42 points if it's good. It doesn't block row O, but it definitely sorts the rack out and scores well. And row O isn't the only danger after pan him. Column 1 is as well. I'm going with this. It is good. Fantastic. Now, I draw the Q, and my rack as a whole is awful, but I have a 50-point lead. There's nothing I can do about row O this turn. I have Chi in column 11. Wow, all of these E's. Let me count the vowels. 14 out of 32. I could have 7 vowels or 6 vowels next turn. Wow, 41 for opponent. Is there any way of playing off more vowels than just QI? Is there a D available? Ah, there's a U of foul. So I could play quiet. Interesting. Let me see what this scores. It's only 16 points, but this rack leave is a lot more attractive than playing off just QI. I'm playing an extra E. So QI in column 11, 26. So I'm dropping 10 points to jettison 1 vowel. I think that's worth it. So is there somewhere better for my Q? And I think I do have to play the Q. I have cat on my rack. Is there anywhere super good for that? 11 minutes on my clock. What about Grumpy? Wow. What about Grumpy? I'm going to try this. And it's good. Amazing. That does keep the Q, but I'm playing off just vowels. I'm taking out row O. And look at this. I draw a D, so I've got Caddy and Cade. Wow. Fantastic. I have Canat in column 3. Is that the point of inflection? I was very close to playing Chi or Quiet and erring towards Quiet, but Grumpy, undoubtedly a better play. Now, my lead isn't that great. Opponent could bingo back into this game, but look at this. From a vowel perspective, lots of E's and O's, but no A's and I's. Opponent's played 21 for div. He's played just 1 tile. Dangerous. But where are the bingo lanes? Column 13, super hot. Well, I can play Cade there. 20 tiles in the bag. So I've got Cade for 21. What sort of a bingo lane am I opening? It would require at least a double overlap, but that would provide access to column 15. Caddy in the same spot. Doesn't work. I would have Caddy for more in column 11. But column 13 is a 7-letter bingo lane for bingos ending in S, so I think this is the spot I need to take out. Interesting. I have Cade and Toased. For 37 points, I'm sacrificing 16 points to take out this bingo lane, and the remaining tiles are pretty non-bingo-y. But the danger is I play Cade, opponent does have a bingo, and I then got a rack full of junk, and I'm not in a position to respond. What to do? Well, is there something better than both of these plays? I think the only way to take out column 13 is by playing in it. Cade does a pretty good job. I'm going with Cade for 21. Wow, and it's me who draws the fantastic rack. Maybe opponent's got a heap of junk. So, I have Seaport in column 14. Fantastic. Esparto and Proteas also from this same 7-letter set. Will that remain available? Rakoff takes nothing in front. Column 7 is a bingo lane for bingos ending in L, and I have Petrosal. Fantastic. I have an unblockable bingo. That is insane. I looked at the tile pool and thought it was non-bingo-y. Because look at this, WUJ, well, they're still all to come. 24 points for opponent, that's good, not very much. Petrosal opens up a triple lane, but with a P in penultimate position. Doesn't scare me. But Seaport's going to score more. Do I have any of its anagrams which work better? I don't have an I. So what are the anagrams? Esparto. Well, that doesn't play. Seaport does. Proteas doesn't play. Is there a fourth? Not sure. Anyway, this is what I'm thinking of playing. Seaport for 71. The alternative is Petrosal. Does Petrosal have an anagram? Prolates? Well, I think I'm going to go with Seaport. Surely this is going to be enough to get me the win. And I lead by over 100 points. And I've got scoring tiles and a balanced rack. Only 4 tiles in the bag. Opponent can bingo once at most. There is a good lane in column 15, but that's for bingos with an O next to IS. There are 2 O's to come, but there aren't a huge number of bingos. However, there's a blank out there, so opponent could have a play. But I don't think it'll be enough. Surely there are spots for my J and W. 7 minutes on my clock, 13 on opponents. I'd like to get rid of both J and W. I can play Jowl. Pretty wretched score, so can I do better? I have Jewel in column 7. That's a little bit better. 20 points. Always nice to have options to score 20 points when you're nursing a 100-point lead and opponent could be about to bingo. Now, Oya is good. Taka isn't. So this spot I created by playing Nay hasn't been used at all. So pleased with Grumpy. Sometimes plays just jump into your mind and they work, and it's so cool when that happens. Now, if opponent doesn't play in column 15, do I have anything? Ide does take an E, so do I have any OE plays? Only Woe. And Joe. Well, what does Joe score? Well, not very much. 18, I think. Nor doesn't take anything I've got. I'm still looking for a better JW play than Jewel. Now, I have found one, Jewel in row C as opposed to column 7. Great, only 37 points for opponent. And this is worth doing because C is an available floater for a bingo. And therefore, I should take it out to maximise my winning spread. I think Jewel kills every lane on the board. So, Jewel for 27. And opponent would have had urgencies, so I have blocked a bingo. It's possible there's an alternative one involving an overlap, but unlikely. Now, if opponent doesn't go out, and the only way he can go out is bingoing, I will have another turn. Do I have an out with these tiles? It doesn't feel very likely. I don't have a 4-letter play. Do I have anything with the C? No. How about the N? No. Great, just 21 points for opponent. He's not provided anywhere for me to go out. Gosh, both O's could go between R and C, but I just don't have a play. 6 minutes on my clock, so heaps of time. Nothing through the N. This doesn't feel very promising. I could play Oo and Oya. 13 points. Can I do any better? What's opponent got? Well, he is going out with EU blank. I thought for a moment I had Hoot, but I don't. AO not good. Nothing through the A. I'm not going to spend forever on this since the game is comfortably won. Now, what about this L? Well, I have Toll. 13 points. That was also 13. Is there something a little bit better? Coot. 10. What about Joe? 14, I think that's the best I've seen. Let me just put this back while I scan down the board. OE here, 13. 4 minutes on my clock. Oya I've fully considered. Nothing around D and L. Of is good, but all I've got is O, which is 9. Roof, not very much. Well, I feel there could be something. It's eluded me so far. How long have I got? Still got 4 minutes. This won't take much longer. No, so I think I'll come back and play Oo for 13. Could I get 13 by playing off one more tile? Yes, I could. Okay, so opponent to go out with EU blank. He must have a whole bunch of places. He could play Cure in row B, but I expect there are better options available. If for any reason he doesn't go out, I certainly can do. And he does. And the final score, 402 for my opponent, 487 for me, a winning margin of 85 points, so a huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a great game. Such fun. It was just the two plays, Grumph and Grumpy, just absolutely supercharged the game in the middle in my favour. Now, opponent to go first plays foul, and I have rake off for 34, which absolutely sorted this rack out in one go, which is always the goal. Super bingo by opponent, dentinal, playable in 2 spots. There must be another E, there is, in rake off. Now, that was perfect because I have at assist as a double-double, and I have a 40-point lead. Opponent's rack plays war. What do? I play nay for 25. Yep, keeping AENS and C3 IAS in column 3, 37 points. It's not worth it, it's 12 more points, but AENS is more than 12 points better than ANN. ANN must be slightly negative, maybe -2, -3, whereas sane is insane. It's absolutely fantastic 4-letter set. It's probably worth pushing 20 points, or maybe slightly over, but probably slightly under. So I would say there's the difference between these rack leaves is over 20, and there's only a 12-point score difference. Now, opponent's rack. And there's a bingo here, and he spots it. Fantastic. That looked an unpromising rack, but with just the U as the solitary vowel, but when you've got the blank, there are always options. Now, what could I have done here? L1 Cyrenian, sticking an S in the middle of column 1. Scenarii A11. Yeah, making buy and lie. Again, sticking an S in the middle of a triple word lane. And then you have inertias and rainiest. I like my play. It was only a 6-point sacrifice. Opponent's rack plays Yid. Now, this was a rack I spent a while over, and I went with toes in the end, and it's just a volatile play. I could have got hammered for this. I could have been on the receiving end of a 100-point bingo. But most of the time, I won't be. And look at this, opponent, he doesn't have anything which can take advantage of toes. So he plays Panim. And now I play Grumph for 42, but Rort, A2, this is disappointing, scores more than Grumph by 10 points. And I was looking at Rort in column 13, but look, Nor, Hacker, and Tyre. And despite the R being in a good spot in a triple lane and being a bingo-y tile, I think the extra points justify it. 10 points. M is not as good as AT, but AT isn't 10 points better than Rort. And that R danger, maybe 6 points. Actually, I think those moves are fairly close. And Grumph has the advantage of lurking towards the row O lane. Now, wow, what a horror show for opponent. Plays Z. And I have Grumpy for 48, which absolutely does an amazing job of taking out a danger and scoring incredibly well for just 2 crappy vowels. Now, opponent still struggling. Plays Div. Wow, so he plays off just a solitary V from this rack. Well, that's guaranteeing a horror show for next turn. Now, my rack, and now I do play the Q. I have Cade. Wow, and at this point my concerns were blocking bingo lanes, and my opponent was, well, yeah, he's not a million miles away from a bingo, but he is away from one. Plays Clove. And I have Seaport, Petrosal available, Post Race available, which I didn't see. Well, I think Seaport is better. It scores the most. Post Race would have opened up a bingo lane. And although Seaport opens a bingo lane, it's not particularly useful. I was just waiting for a bingo to pop up then, but it doesn't. Opponent plays Bod, leaving 1 in the bag. And I played Jewel for 27, and I like that. I'm taking out a bingo lane. And opponent does have the potential for urgencies, so it is a genuine danger. Opponent now doesn't have a bingo, plays green. Wow, E2. Ah, attacker is good. I thought it wasn't, but it is. Yeah, so those are certainly better plays. And what do? I get 13. Yep, so I think apart from the tacker plays, Toll is best. And then let's see what the opponent could have done. 16. And he gets 10, so that was the end of that. So what a fantastic game. Both of us over 400 points and myself pushing 500, and just a great fun game with risks and dangers and interesting racks to consider, and then Grumph and Grumpy being the icing on the cake. So many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.